is where it all begins. This is where it all begins. This is where it all begins.
Hi and welcome. My name is Helen Webster. You might recognise me if you're a fan of the Norseman Extreme Triathlon as one of the presenters for the race. I'm part of the media team as well as being editor of 220 Triathlon magazine here in the UK. But I'm here today to talk to Hans Petter, who is the managing director of Zalaris, Norseman headline sponsors, and to find out a little bit more about Team Zalaris for 2024 and what that means. So Hans Petter, welcome. It's good to see you again.
Thank you, Helen. It's great seeing you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Norseman for those that don't know about the race. So it's an extreme triathlon, right?
Yes, Norseman is extreme tri. It's a 3.8k swim in the cold Eidfjord, 180k over fantastic Hardangervidda with quite some elevation. I think it's 3,500-ish meter. And then finishing off with a nice marathon with about first flat 25k and then a nice little hill finishing up at Gaustatoppen 1,860 meters. So it's about, I think, a 1,600 meter climb. So not quite nice race with lots of fantastic people cheering you on the way.
I feel like, Hans Petter, you've mentioned some key words there, such as cold and hill. And for those that don't know about Norseman, I mean, it's one of the allegedly toughest races in the world, but it's also one of the most beautiful, isn't it? So to give you a bit of context, those of you that are watching this, you jump off the back of a ferry into the waters of the Hardangerfjord, which is just beautiful. And then you swim back to Eidfjord to collect your bike. And then you're cycling across the plateau. You're seeing Immingfell, all these amazing parts of the Norwegian countryside. And then you mentioned a hill at the end. That hill is actually Gaustatoppen, which is one of the highest points in Norway. And believe me, I've walked up there and it is a tough ask at the end of a major triathlon. But you particularly are very passionate about this race. So tell me how Zalaris came to sponsor it.
Yeah, it was in 2017. I was actually got a start number for Norseman as I became the entrepreneur of the year. And I then started in 2018, did a white finish. It was an absolutely fabulous race. And the only thing I could think about when I, finished it was how could I do this again? And I thought also with everything that I had seen on the way, the superb crew, the fantastic atmosphere, the scenery, and all these other nice participants, I thought this really fits really well with the Zalaris values. So teamwork, aiming high, endurance, and so on. So I thought this would be a great way to sponsor, to use in our communication of our values and what we stand for. And that was basically the start of our journey together with Norseman. And then thinking when we had the opportunity to become the title sponsor, let's also use it for something good, because even though it's lots of teamwork and we work together, it's also kind of an ego trip to a certain extent. So if we can use this ego thing, doing something for ourselves, how can we use that to something bigger and use it for something good, and then fundraise for to help combat cancer and really try to make that, use this to create awareness and fundraise to combat cancer, then we figured that's a really good combo.
And I love this, Hans Petter, because I go to so many races where brands have their name on their response and you never see anybody. But I mean, I've been at Norseman every year for quite a few years now, and I've seen you there every year cheering people on, getting involved, really being passionate about the race and, like you say, the charities that you're fundraising for, which is just fantastic. So tell us a little bit about Team Zalaris and what it involves.
Yeah, so basically we're seeking 4 people that can join Team Zalaris this year, and those 4, one need to have a commitment to actually turn up to the race. So we're looking for people that have somewhat of a documented history also with endurance, but you must not. I mean, do not put much attention to. Will you be a winner or where will you place? But you need to be in spirits and being a good contributor to the positive spirit, and you must turn up. And then you must commit to fundraise to help us combat cancer to one of the chosen charities that we have in the countries where we operate to do that. And the current target is that everyone must commit to fundraise a minimum of 7,500 euros and before starting the race. And we're kind of strict on this because it's easy to say just yes and not do it. So we expect you to do that. And if you do, then you have a starting slot in a very coveted starting slot. This year it was like 5,100 applicants for 125 slots. So this is a good way, an easy way to get into the race if you're committed to fundraising, we think.
Yeah, we should say actually that Norseman is, I mean, it's been known for years as one of the most popular and amazing races in the triathlon calendar, but also one of the most difficult to get a place at because, like you say, a lot of the places are ballot entry and people will try year after year after year to get a place at Norseman and never actually make it. But you know what you're asking for here is someone that's got a good heart, is willing to train and is willing to work with you on fundraising for these amazing charities, and in return they get a place at Norseman, which is just fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about being a part of the team. How will you support these people? How will you get involved with them as their journey training towards the race goes on?
Yeah, so of course, with help with some practical details, still you have to fix the logistics in terms of flight and accommodation yourself, but you'll get a full Zalaris kit, including tri-suit, nice jackets and all kinds of stuff from us. And we'll of course support you as much as we can on site and help you with the support and advise them and basically do whatever we can to prepare you for the race. So that's what you'll get. And you'll get some really enthusiastic team members and of course myself and others to help you as much as we can on the way.
And that's great, isn't it? Because I think sometimes people get so excited about getting a place at these races, but actually the training is probably harder than the race itself, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think a key here is, of course, to train and to have a support team that's also prepared and know what to do when they come here, and that can help you on your way.
And you haven't just done the race once, have you, Hans Petter? You've been back and done it again yourself?
Yeah, I've done it now 4 times, 3 times successfully. 1 time I was taken out in the swim because I swam too slow. So thus I know how it is to be on the top of Gausatoppen with a black shirt, but I also know how bad it feels if you're not succeeding. But that's also really lessons learned that I can share with anyone.
But I love this. The managing director of the headline sponsor has done the race 4 times, knows what it is to get the black t-shirt finish, which for those of you who don't know about Norseman, there's 2 finishes depending on how quick you are or what the cutoff points are. So you either get a black t-shirt, which means you made it to the top of the mountain and did the really high difficult finish, or you get a white t-shirt finish, which means you're after the cutoff times but still got an equally valid race finish and ended up kind of going back down the mountain and doing a kind of slightly easier route for safety. But, you know, and like you say, we're at the kind of the mercy of Mother Nature, aren't we, at these races, that, you know, they could throw anything at you on the day, whether it's in the swim, the bike or the run.
Exactly. I think lots of people put lots of effort in the black T-shirt, but I can also tell from having had the white one the first time around, it felt equally good when finishing with a white T-shirt. Clearly, when I saw the black ones the day after, I wished I had one, but you know yourself when you finish it with style that it's worth, or that's what's worth it. It's not the color of the shirt. So regardless of the shirt, it's an absolutely fabulous experience.
Yeah. And as you said, you're not looking for the fastest athletes here. You're looking for people that have the right attitude towards training, racing, fundraising. So how do people apply? How can they get involved?
Yeah, so we will soon communicate the process, but we use actually the recruiting solution that we also offer to customers via our website. So it will be like a job ad where you apply, and will there be certain questions and so on that you have to respond to, like somewhat with your background, some questions related to your capabilities as a say to actually succeed the race, and how you're gonna fundraise, and also your essay experience with social media, because clearly for us too, it's not just about also funding, finding the money, because we know there are lots of actual people out there that are just willing to purchase a slot for €7,500. And just yesterday, a slot was in a lottery or in an auctioned off in Norway for €15,000. So we know that a lot of people are willing to actually pay their way in. So, but we're not only after the money, we're also after you being a positive role model, showcasing to others what is possible through fundraising, such that you can help us make this snowball bigger through being active in social media, communicating what you do, and help others also get ideas that they can also fundraise for causes that are near their hearts. And as such, we can all contribute to some good.
Yeah. And tell us just a little bit about the charities that you've chosen to work with, because they're cancer charities, right?
Absolutely. So the one that we started it with was Active Against Cancer, or Aktiv mot kreft, as it's called in Norwegian. So it's a foundation that supports, that actually promotes physical activity as a way to both protect against, but also say combat and recover from cancer. So it was founded by Grete Waitz, who's like the run queen from Norway that won, I think, New York Marathon a number of times, and she was a fantastic runner that died from cancer. But then we've also found similar charities in the UK, like Move Against Cancer, or 4K Your Way, it's called, which also is as similar, helping cancer survivors with also physical activity and helping them say combat life and survive. And then we have Kids Heidelberg, which is also a cancer hospital in Heidelberg, Germany, that helps with particular focus on children and how to support parents being able to spend time with their children in the hospital. So we have these three really, really nice foundations, but are also open to ideas from you if you reside in a country other than these three ones that we typically have been fundraising for.
Yeah, fantastic. And I guess the big question, Hans Petter, will we see you there either racing or cheering on the team this year over in Eidfjord?
Yeah, I think definitely one out of the two. I shall honestly admit that, every time I watch one of the race videos, I think, oh, I must do it again. So the chance is there. I've started to prepare my wife for it. So then, and I'm training all the time anyway, so it's not that big of a difference whether I do it or not.
Yeah, I know you're a big believer in keeping healthy and active as a way of just enjoying life and, you know, being more kind of functional at work and just living a better life. So it's good to see you doing that too.
Exactly. So that's what I think in general, that of course Norseman, I think, is to maybe do it's to taking it a little bit to the extremes, but in general I find that staying in fit is a way to actually survive also the stress and all these tough days also working. So it's to find a combo that works, and I recommend it to everyone to try to stay in shape.
Yeah, and I know I was preparing for this interview today, and I've been to Norseman many times, but even seeing the photos just sends that shiver down your spine. It's that kind of race.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, I will hope to be there next year as part of the media team again if they invite me back. But I will hopefully be there to see you and your lucky team. And best of luck with the recruitment and also the fundraising. And yeah, good to see you again, Hans Petter. Thank you for talking to me.
This is where it all